What's good, everyone? Welcome back to the show, man. Recap with Mo, where we're getting ready to get into a brand new episode breakdown of Tyler Perry's ZATIMA. But before we get into this thing, make sure to like and subscribe to this channel so you don't miss shit snit that's going down, alright? So the episode we're getting ready to get into is for season 3, episode number 1, titled Counting the Cost. Now, we kicked this episode off with Zach and Fatima at the crib. Now, Zach is in the bed pretending to be asleep. He's on his phone initially. We do not see Fatima, but obviously she's getting ready to leave for work. So when he hears her getting ready to come out of the bathroom, he immediately falls out like he's asleep, right? So as she's walking by to leave the room, Zach jumps up and he's like, girl, I know you ain't trying to sneak up out of here. And she was like, no, I just didn't want to wake you up or whatnot. So she comes on back over looking as fine as ever or whatnot. And, she begins to, ask him how he's feeling. And Zach doesn't really know how he's supposed to feel about the passing of his moms right now. And, Fatima strongly suggests that, hey, I think you should contact Dr. Reed. Maybe he can talk you through some things or whatnot to make you feel better and help you refocus on what you really need to do, right? So, he was like, yeah, I'm definitely going to consider that and whatnot. He then also tells her that, hey, another thing that I may do today is head into the office just to check in on some things, but we already know what he's going to the office for. He's going over there to figure out what's going on with his money, because in the previous season, Bryce, his partner, had decided to go against the grain. Now, he and Zach had already had an agreement, but he obviously wanted to do what he wanted to do when he did what he did. And unfortunately for him, the deal fell through and Zach is out of his money, right? So we'll get into that a little bit later. But at the same time, his woman sitting here, standing here, looking at him face to face, conveys to him that, hey, it's no problem. If you need the money to do what you need to do, I can give you the money. Now, Zach is like, absolutely not. I can do it myself. And I get it. I get him. I understand it as a man, you want to do some things for yourself. I get it. But also at the same daggone time, if your woman is over here offering this for you because she sees that you got other things on your plate, it is all right for you to, if you need it, it's there. But anyhow, going on from there, y'all, next we head outside to see Preston, who's approaching Zach's crib or whatnot. And at the same daggone time, you got Sister Deja grabbing the groceries from the backseat of her car or whatnot. And she sees Preston approaching the crib as well. So, of course, she got all of these daggone questions, like who he was, what he do, but most importantly, who did he come to see? Because if you the popo, it ain't me. I'm just going to go ahead and let you know that. Like, no, I ain't got nothing to do with it, right? So anyhow, he goes on to tell her, first of all, that he's not the popo, but that he's here to see a friend. Now, of course, she has to know who the friend is. And he goes on to tell her that it was Zach or whatnot. So while he's talking to Deja, here comes Fatima coming out the crib, getting ready to go to work. Now, of course, Deja already knows that Fatima doesn't fool with her, so she goes on and leaves, but she's still trying to flirt at the same daggone time with Preston, who, he's trying to keep his eyes on Fatima, but he's also looking at Deja from across the way because she's doing every daggone thing to get his attention. And it's working, all right? We'll talk about it. We're definitely going to talk about it. But anyhow, once Deja goes into the crib or whatnot, Fatima comes over to see what's going on with Preston. Why is he there? He tells her that he's there to, just check in on Zach or whatnot because he heard that, his moms had passed or whatnot. So she was like, cool, Zach should be excited to see you. So she invites him inside, of course. And of course, when Zach sees him, they dap it up or whatnot. Fatima leaves to go to work. So everything seems pretty, copacetic or whatnot. Everything is good and all. And now all of a sudden, Zach is like, okay, how did you find out about my moms or whatnot? What's his name? Preston conveys to him that he found out through a post that Danny posted or whatnot. So of course he felt some type of way about that. But at the end of the day, what can you really do about it? You know your people. Danny is that type of person. She's going to make a post about it or whatnot. So it is what it is, right? So anyhow, going on from there, next we head over to the neighborhood where we see Nate and Tony meeting up with Connie, who's standing out on the balcony or whatnot. So Connie wanted to meet up with the fellas to inform them that Miss Gladys had an insurance policy, and somehow, some way, Connie was listed as the executor, right? So as they're trying to explain this, Nate is not understanding what's going on. He's not able to comprehend why she's telling them this. So finally, after they break it down and after minutes and minutes and time have passed, he finally understands what they were trying to get at. Jeremiah is the problem. They don't want him to know about the money. Unfortunately, Connie tells them that she believes that he's already been notified about the money. So they like, dang, like, what can we do? So Tony suggests that Connie reaches out to Fatima or whatnot. Now, initially, Nate is like, no, absolutely not. I mean, we don't really know too much about her and all of this stuff, whoop, whoop, whoop. But on the other hand, he's like, man, this would be a good test for Fatima. I'm like, dude, make up your mind. Either you want the help or you don't want the help. Daggone. So anyhow, Connie conveys to them that, hey, I'm really thinking about meeting up with her or whatnot, but she doesn't want to do it in front of Zach. So Tony tells her that he'll give her Fatima's work address so they can link up later on, right? So anyhow, from there, since we're talking about Fatima, we head over to the garage where we see Fatima and Angela getting out of their cars at the same time, arriving at work. And of course, Angela, when she sees her, she's asking about Zach. How is he feeling? What is he doing? All of that good stuff, right? And, Fatima tells her that he's doing, fine. He's headed into work or whatnot. So she was like, okay, cool. And then Fatima turns it around and she's like, hey, did he get that money? Talking about Bryce. Did he reach out to his father and get that money or whatnot? Now, Angela, on the other hand, she feels like she's done with Bryce, right? That's what she said, right? So she was like, look, I don't know. He ain't my man, right? And she was like, well, he better get that money. This is Fatima talking. He better get that money if he knows what's good for him, because Zach is going to be pissed if he don't get that money. Now, I ain't going to lie to y'all. Once I found out how much money it was, I could have jumped through the television. I could have jumped through the daggone television my daggone self. Bro, you took that amount of money from my personal account, bro? Okay. You better get it. Anyhow, let's move on, man. So anyhow, Fatima and Angela decide to go on into work together, and as they're walking into the building, who do they see? Miss Connie, right? So Connie is sitting over here in the waiting room, waving down Fatima or whatnot. Angela is like, hold on, why is she here? Duh, Angela, she's obviously there to see Fatima, right? I mean, what else would she be there for, right? So finally, Fatima asked the same daggone question. Connie, why are you here? And Connie is looking at her like, girl, I'm honestly here to talk to you. Obviously, like, I don't know nothing about this law-ish. Like, I'm here to talk to you about this situation. And she was like, okay, what about? Now, I'm looking at Fatima like, come on, Fatima. Ain't nobody going to share personal business out here in the lobby of a... Definitely with your homegirl standing behind you all up in the business or whatnot. So after all of that back and forth, right, she eventually goes on to tell Fatima that it has something to do with Zach and his brother Jeremiah. So after hearing that, Fatima finally decides to take her back to the office. Now let me go ahead and say this about Connie. Connie is my type of chick, y'all. Like, for real, she's beautiful, she's down to earth, not arrogant by any means, just a cool tell woman, right? And I understand why Fatima feels some type of way about Connie, but Connie is just trying to be cool with her. And she even asked her, like, would we ever be cool? And Fatima's like, why would we be cool? And I'm like, why not? I mean, if you want to be technical about it, I mean, if I go over here to sisters, you know what I'm saying? You cool with Karen somewhat. Like, why can't you somewhat be cool with Connie? Like, I just don't get it, right? So anyhow, getting back to the story, because I can get off on a tangent, right? So listen, she finally tells her what it is that she's there for. She gives her the file. Once Fatima opens the file, she sees what it is. And she was like, hold on, wait a minute. Miss Gladys had an insurance policy. She was like, yeah, $25,000, right? And she was like, I don't know what to do with this. She wanted me to divide the money between the two. I really don't want to get involved in this. Like, and I was hoping that since you love Zach, Zach loves you, and Jeremiah somewhat likes you or whatnot, that you would take over and I can sign this over to you and you can handle it. All right. So she's getting ready to get out her pen or whatnot. And Fatima's like, hold on, wait a minute. No, 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 no. What are you doing? She was like, well, I don't want to do it. And I was just thinking that since you already a paralegal and everything, looking around her office, like, I thought that you would be the best person to do it since you love Zach and Zach loves you and, Jeremiah somewhat likes you. Like, why don't you just take over? And she's still trying to sign it over. Now, Fatima, long story short, is like, look, let me just talk this over with Zach because he's already paying for the funeral or whatnot. Now, little do you know, Fatima, it may be you paying for the funeral, right? Because he ain't got no money. So anyhow, getting back to the story, Fatima tells Connie that she needs to leave because she has a meeting with her boss or whatnot. And I'm sitting here like, what boss are you talking about? I know you're not talking about Andy, because Andy is never on time. Never on time. So I don't know what boss you talking about, right? So as Connie is leaving, calling her friend and all of that good stuff, here comes Angela wanting to know the 411. Like, why is she here? What's going on? Is Zach okay? Now, Fatima tells her that, hey, we can talk about it over a cup of coffee or whatnot. And then she says something about the braids. Now, I did see Connie smack her in the face with those braids, and I was like, that was good. But so anyhow, from there, we head over to see Zach and Preston at his office, and they're sitting in his office when Bryce comes in. Now, of course, Bryce is like, how are you doing? And all of this stuff. Now, Zach is not ready for the small talk. He wants to get to the money talk. So he's like, where's my money? Now, Bryce is like, well, it should be here later on today. Now, he was like, okay, that's good, but when? What time? Now, he's not able to convey that information to him at the moment, but honestly, deep down in my heart, I feel like he knows because he has yet to hear anything from his father, and I'm sitting here like, bro, I don't believe you. Like, it's certain people you just don't believe, and he's one of those people, all right? He's just one of those people. If you are able to take money from a man's personal account to do whatever you want to do with it, you're not trustworthy, right? So anyhow, going on from there, he leaves the room. Now, Zach isn't able to hide his feelings right now. He's still mad. He's pissed because his money is gone. He's trying to figure out what to do and how to handle this situation. And then he's still dealing with the fact that he's trying to figure out how to deal with his mom's passing as well and how to afford her funeral. So there's a lot going on right now for Zach. And, he has this business partner who's not, actively doing what he's supposed to be doing. So he's telling, Preston that he's thinking about going out on his own. And, Preston is like, well, how does this real estate business go? And he was like, at one point in time, it was good. But I got a partner who's doing his own thing, right? So it's never beneficial for the partnership if someone is doing it the way that they want to do it instead of doing it the way that we want to do it, right? So anyhow, going on from there, we head back over to see Fatima, who's back in our office working or whatnot. I guess she's had her meeting with her boss, right? So she receives a phone call from guess who? Connie. Now, of course, she was like, okay, this is the second time today, right? So Connie goes on to tell her that, hey, I just called to give you a heads up that, Jeremiah has received notification about the money or whatnot. So obviously she's already had a conversation with him about it and he's came to her about it. So she tells her that, I may have said some things about you and Zach handling that situation. And Fatima's like, well, why would you tell him that? You already know that Zach already got enough on his plate. Whoa. And she was like, I know. But, I got to think about my family and my kids and all of that stuff. Like, he be acting crazy when he be on that stuff or whatnot. And Fatima's like, hold on. Are you saying that he was going to hurt you or something like that? She was like, no, but when he get on that stuff, he be wilding out. So, I got to do what's best for me and my family, which I get. She's a single mother. Now, on the flip side, you got Zach. So if anything goes down, you got Zach to protect you. That's essentially what she's saying, right? So now Fatima is like, okay, no problem. No problem. We'll deal with it. So anyhow, from there, it doesn't get any better because now we're heading back over to Zach's office where we see him, trying to figure out the funeral packages and all of that stuff. Because when you go in there, they got everything from the rooter to the tutor. Like, if you want doves flying out of the casket, like, they got it. I don't I don't know how they think that stuff up, but it is what it is, man. So he's trying to figure out how much everything is going to cost and all of that good stuff. Now, the cool thing is, Preston tells him, and I'm sort of jumping ahead here, but I just wanted to get that out before I forgot it. But Preston does offer to, assist him with that, outside of everything else. But at the same daggone time, here comes Bryce with the good, bad news, right? So he tells him that, hey, my father ain't going to be able to give me the money. Now, of course, I said good, but it's really all bad. It's all bad because from here, Zach is in a rage. He's already pissed about this situation with his moms, and now he's having to deal with a man that took his money out of his account when he had conveyed to him not to make the deal. It was a bad deal. We cannot afford it, Bryce. But Bryce said, it's a great deal. It's a great deal, Zach. It's not. And now Zach is having to deal with it. Now, I am a little mad at Zach because you should not place all of your eggs in one basket, bro. If that's all of your money, bro, I'm looking at you sideways as well. I cannot believe that that's all his money, right? But if he's saying that's all the money he had, okay. But as a business owner, it's just not wise. But anyhow, moving back and getting in the meat of this story, right? So now they're in a heated debate. And Preston is in the middle of it. And I'm like, bro, this has been boiling for a minute. Go on and let this do what it do. Let it air out. Move out the way so fish can fly, because they look like they wanted to get it. They look like they wanted to get it in, man. Move out the way. I ain't seen a good fight in a long time. So Bryce is on one side, Zach is on the other side. Ain't nobody listening to no daggone body. And then all of a sudden, Preston is trying to play mediator and all of this. And I'm like, bro, move. But long story short, Bryce tells him that he's going to go talk to his pops in person. Zach is like, man, you need to do it because, Jesus and all. I was like, Jesus? Like, what Jesus got to do with this conversation? Definitely when you throwing out expletives in the same daggone sentence like Preston was saying, like, you shouldn't be doing that. I don't know what you're doing, but you're doing it, right? So anyhow, Bryce leaves, Zach is pissed, all of this good stuff. So it's just wilding out right now. And Preston is like, look, y'all need to calm down because y'all going back and forth, y'all not getting anywhere. And Zach is like, man, I'm just losing. I feel like I'm being elf right now. Like, I'm not winning this battle. And I'm like, bro, I understand. But at the same daggone time, man, your fiance has already told you she got you. You got Preston over here saying he got you to a certain extent. Not all the way. Because, of course, it's not his obligation. But he still stated that he would assist you if you needed it, right? So anyhow, moving on from there, we head back over to the garage. Now, I don't know what it is with Tyler Perry and garages. It don't matter what show you on. There are great things that go down in the garage. But most of the time, it's the bad to the worst that goes down in the garage. I don't know what it is. Definitely between ZATIMA and sisters. I don't know what it is about the garage, right? So anyhow, we enter the garage and we see Fatima. Now, Fatima's there trying to get home, trying to get in her car. And here comes Brother Jeremiah. Now, Brother Jeremiah looks bad. He got spots on his head. He's like, they did a pretty good job in the makeup room, man. This brother looked bad, y'all. So anyhow, he was like, look, man, where the money? She was like, what money are you talking about? He was like, you know what I'm talking about. And now he's going back and forth with Fatima. Now, Fatima is trying to get an understanding, but she already knows she's already had this conversation with Connie. So she knew at some point that she was going to possibly run into this dude. Now, my question was immediately, like, how in the world did he know what time she got off and where she worked? Like, I don't recall, maybe I need to go back, but I don't recall a time or a place where I've seen him up at her office, right? I don't recall it, but maybe I'm wrong. Now, he shows up and he's asking, where's the money? Now, of course, Fatima's confused because, like, we don't have any money. Like, we haven't gotten anything from the insurance company or anything. I just found it out today. He was like, now you know what I'm talking about. So now he decides, instead of listening to her, maybe he's on that stuff, maybe he's wilding out right now, exactly what Connie was talking about. Maybe that's what it is at this moment in time. He's not able to think clearly, right? So he's like, okay, I'm going to take it upon myself to get the money. So he starts to yank on her purse. They start to wrestle. The next thing you know, he's slinging Fatima. She's slinging him. Next thing you know, Fatima's on the ground. She done bumped up against the car and every daggone thing, and she's out. And I'm like, oh my gosh, like, what in the world is going to happen with Brother Jeremiah? Man. That's how we end this episode, y'all. And I just don't know how it's going to turn out, man, because this is a bad situation. I mean, if I'm just thinking off the top of my head, you got Zach. He's dealing with his mom's situation, dealing with, Bryce and his money situation. And now he's possibly dealing with having to deal with his brother's situation. Bro, I know they say stuff comes in threes, but man. Look. Make sure to like and subscribe to this channel so y'all don't miss shit that's going down right here, man. Also, tomorrow, Sisters, once again, episode number 3, I believe. And then I'm going to drop episode number 2 of ZATIMA as well directly after that. So you will have those 2 episodes up tomorrow night, right? What else? I don't know. I'm just going to start putting stuff out. I had already promised somebody that I had some episodes coming of, what's the show, Average Joe? I did that so long ago, man, when it first started, and then I didn't know if they were going to have an actual season 2, and then I've read that they are having a season 2, so I was like, cool. So with that being said, be on the lookout for those as well, starting at the latter part of this week, so we can get caught up on all of those as well. So I will talk to y'all soon. Peace.